How's it going, everyone? Want to talk a couple of things? I've been covering overpriced video games for a little bit now, and we've got the latest one, Ubisoft, releasing the Division Definitive Edition. So for a while, there were a lot of rumors about Division getting this updated release, upgraded release. Well, is it really upgraded? No, it's not. It's kind of just a re-release that they're charging an absurd price point on, so we'll talk about that. After that, I do want to go over a quick rumor killer on Bloober Team's title that they are teasing. Bloober Team's got a couple of games in development. One of them is a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive. They're also working on a Silent Hill 1 remake, and they're teasing a game. I believe it is the Switch 2 exclusive that they're teasing, but there was speculation that it was a remake of a kind of cult classic and a game that's become a phenomenon in its own. It goes for a very expensive price point, but unfortunately, Bloober Team has put the kibosh on that and they killed that rumor. So more on that in a little bit. But the Division Definitive Edition is listed on PlayStation Store right now. Guys, this is just the Division 1 with all of the expansions and some cosmetic nonsense. The game was already 60 frames per second on PlayStation 5. Like, that's been a thing, and I gave Ubisoft credit for that. I give Ubisoft credit for going back and going through their older games and making them 60 frames per second. There's a lot of games that I look at that are PS4 titles on PS5 that are not available at 60 FPS. I would love if Warner Brothers went through some of their PS4 catalog. I know Monolith Productions shut down, but, Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War, Batman Arkham Knight, all those games. There's a lot of Bethesda titles, Dishonored 2, that it would be great if those games got real PS5 enhancements, or at the very least, they were playable in 60 frames per second. They are not. Ubisoft, on the other hand, has been going back through their back catalog and updating their games to be played at 60 FPS, so I give them a lot of credit for that. However, that doesn't excuse the fact that they could just release games and re-release games, or just bundle games together. It's not even really a re-release, it's a repackaging, if anything else. The Division Definitive Edition, a 10-year-old game, is available on the PlayStation Store for $50. Why is a 10-year-old game with the DLC that has a sequel out, why is this $50? It's absolutely heinous and egregious, and this is a game that still has microtransactions available. Obviously, it's a live service game. You're trying to charge $50 for a live service game from 10 years ago, and on top of that, there's microtransactions that are available for said game. Now, the official listing for the Definitive Edition of The Division, now, to get the complete The Division experience in this Definitive Edition, what is so definitive about it outside of it owns all the content? To me, Definitive Editions have always been editions that update the game in somehow better visuals. Something changes about the game that enhances your experience outside of just bundling in all the content. Bundling in all the content together is like the easiest thing you could do. Definitive, to me, always screamed, okay, we're taking this game up a notch. It's gonna have better visuals, ray tracing, this or that or whatever, something added into the game. This version does include the base game, all 3 season pass expansions, and multiple cosmetic packs awaiting you. Whoa there, dude! Restore order and rebuild New York City after a devastating pandemic in this tactical open-world third-person shooter. Engage enemies in intense cover-based firefights where some smart positioning and utility usage win battles. Deep gear progression, immersive open-world solo or co-op, robust endgame as well. You get Expansion 1 Underground, Expansion 2 Survival, Expansion 3 Last Stand. The Definitive Edition does also include gear sets, weapon skins, and customization options. Everything you need to stand out as an elite agent. Like, who cares about this when it's priced at $50? Again, a 10-year-old game being priced this expensively, and especially a game like The Division. Like, it's whatever when Final Fantasy XIV and all of its expansions are bundled together, because it's been a game that's been getting consistently updated and the expansions are fairly new. This is just a 10-year-old game that's being bundled together that, again, the game has a sequel available as well, and I like The Division. The time I spent with The Division, I genuinely thought it was a fairly fun game. It's not something I invested, 150 hours into or anything like that, but my recollection was it was a fun open world title. It was enjoyable to play co-op and solo, but really this Definitive Edition, I feel, should be like a $4.99, $9.99 upgrade. I get that it includes all the expansions, but you'd be actually doing something to get people back into the game, and then on top of that, it probably should have had some other enhancements outside of literally just being a repackaging. Like, that's what this is. It's just a repackaging of content already available. They slapped a $50 price point on it, and they're like, all right, yo, here you go. It's listed on there. So I think this is pretty ridiculous, and I'm going to be covering more and more of these price points that I think are insane. I just feel like they have gotten more and more crafty on whatever way they can do, where they can repackage existing games and get monetary return out of them. They'll do it. And it's one thing when I bug out about Days Gone Remastered and Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered. At the very least, those games are actually remastered and they look better than the original. And Days Gone, for example, included new original content. It wasn't a literal repackaging. Like, Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered wasn't just, okay, we take Horizon Zero Dawn and Frozen Wild and we've upped the frame rate to 60 FPS, which Zero Dawn literally did do on PlayStation 5 as well before the remaster, and then you charge a premium price point for it. I get that, you know, Horizon got a complete edition, but that complete edition came out like a year after the game. Not 10 years after the game for the Division, and then 10 years later it was priced at $50 still. If you were gonna price it at $50, the best you could have done is update the game, do some actual visual enhancements, and then on top of that, you know, if you want to re-release it at $49.99, you know, I still think that's an egregious price, much like I thought Horizon and Days Gone was egregious, but offer an upgrade path with that as well, and I think people would be a little bit more accepting of that. $50 just for a repackaged title, I think is insane, but what can you do? Moving on from that, I do want to note that Bloober Team has responded to rumors of them working on a Rule of Rose remake, which I hadn't heard of these rumors that much, but if you guys don't know, Rule of Rose was this cult classic, cult favorite horror game on the PlayStation 2 that it goes for a very, very hefty price. Let me actually pull this up for you guys right now on how expensive Rule of Rose is. It's one of the most expensive PS2 games. Literally, as I pull it up, $200 on PlayStation 2. I see an immaculate condition one for $1,100. This is one of the most expensive video games on the PlayStation 2, and really on any PlayStation platform ever. And there were teasers going around, and the user Radic, who has a great Twitter account, just a lot of that user's tweets are of the PlayStation 3 era, so it really hits home for me, that PS2, PS3 era, and bringing up, like, Rule of Rose, I feel like is a bit of a deep cut, and people calling for a Rule of Rose remake would be crazy. I feel like if Bloober Team was remaking Rule of Rose, I actually think it would do pretty well, just because Bloober Team kind of has that cult following right now, where a lot of people that are aware of their games know how talented they are, and on top of that, I feel like Rule of Rose, if they announced a remake, has a little bit of that mystical aura, so to speak, that, you know, not everybody is aware about the game, but there are enough people that do know about the game, and there is that knowledge out there that this game is a $200 title on PS2, so I feel like from that standpoint, I'm not saying it would sell millions upon millions of copies, but Bloober Team handling it, I actually think would do fairly well, and I think it kind of would be one of those releases that would surprise a lot of people in how well it could do. However, Bloober Team did come out and noted, nice guess, but no. Babiano said on his personal LinkedIn account, it definitely doesn't refer to any remake. So I'm led to believe this is probably going to end up being a new IP for the Nintendo Switch 2. But, you know, they're also working on the Silent Hill 1 remake. Bloober Team's got a lot of projects in development, man. I don't know how they juggle all of these projects, because they do quite a lot. I mean, Silent Hill 2 remake came out in 2024. Then they did Chronos the New Dawn. That came out in 2025. I know these games were all concurrently in development and probably different people working on them, but still, they're rotating out quite a lot of quality games as well. It's not like they're low-level games. Chronos, I thought, was an exceptional game. Silent Hill 2, obviously, was really good. Now they've got a Nintendo Switch 2 title. They've got a Silent Hill 1 remake in development, and I believe they have another game on top of that at some stage of development. So they've got a lot on their table right now, so we'll see how all of that turns out. But I did want to get a mention in for Rule of Rose. It's actually a game that I was thinking about a few weeks ago when I was thinking about classic games that I would want to go back and play, and it's one of those titles that is exceptionally expensive. I actually would be curious. Let me check one more thing for you guys. Who published Rule of Rose? Because where is the rights to this game? It's actually a game that was published by Atlas in North America. Sony published it in Japan. Europe, it was 505 Games, so I think there would be bit of an issue as far as how you would get this game out, since it was published by different entities in different regions. But nonetheless, it would be crazy if one day we would get a re-release for this game. I think this is one that definitely figure it out. Even if you're not gonna remake, get a re-release and figure that one out as far as getting that into the hands of people and not having them pay, you know, $200, $300, $400 for the game. But that's gonna do it for me. Again, the Division Definitive Edition is kind of a scam, honestly. At $50, it's outrageous. And Bloober Team, it doesn't look like they're working on a Rule of Rose remake, unfortunately. They've put the kibosh on that, but I wanted to give that a mention, since Rule of Rose is one of those games that I feel like the people that know about it know that it kind of has this aura, and maybe a lot of that aura is just because the price is absolutely insane. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. As always, sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.